8 players from Iran's female soccer team are being questioned for their gender. There are accusations that 8 of the so-called women are not actually women, they're men.
8 of the so-called women. So stupid.
They're allegedly men posing as women. Now, I don't know how accurate these allegations are. There needs to be an investigation into this. But interestingly enough, back in 2014, there were 4 players on the team that were being questioned by authorities because apparently in Iran, this is very interesting, even though it's a very conservative country, they are very open-minded when it comes to gender reassignment surgeries.
Yeah, trans issues.
Yes. So it's completely legal in Iran to have a sex reassignment surgery. And so authorities are saying that 4 of the players could have been born as men and they're transitioning to women, but they haven't undergone the full transition, which is why it's unfair for them to be on the team.
No.
That's the allegation.
That is not what's happening. They're cheating by using men on the soccer team. That's what's happening. Yeah. Iran may be good at that. There aren't coincidentally 4 people in the middle of transformation who are also world-class soccer players. Like that's just not happening.
Yeah.
And there's been too many allegations about it. Can we put up that main picture again? Because I don't want to call anybody out.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not going to.
That's a terrible idea.
No, but put the picture back up. And then just look at that picture. There's like one definite. There is one definite.
They didn't even try.
They're not even, that's why. That person's not even trying.
Yeah.
That person is not even trying. I don't want to call it out because there's a good chance I'm wrong.
Well, yeah.
Well, come on.
Yeah, we're going to let the audience decide for themselves. We're going to pull a CNN here.
I don't know. I don't know. But that's the picture of the team, and many as 4. And it's not that they're in the middle of gender reassignment. Come on.
Okay, let's talk about it as if that were the case, because I think that brings up a much more interesting discussion about professional sports and how they would handle a transgender individual joining in on the sport. So if let's say in the United States, let's think about our own terms, there is a football team and all of a sudden, well, it's a little different with American sports because we don't really have women's sports.
Oh, we do, sure.
What, the basketball teams?
Well, I mean, women's tennis.
Okay, fair enough.
Women's tennis,
okay,
women's
tennis
golf.
is a great example. All right, so you have someone who was born a male now competing in women's tennis.
It happened.
It did happen. I remember having a conversation about this. These are important conversations to have because as we become more and more open-minded and tolerant toward different communities and different types of people, these kinds of issues are going to keep coming up. And I think it's interesting to delve into it and figure out how to appropriately address it.
So Richard Raskin was born August 19th, 1934 in New York and became Renee Richards, the tennis player. Initially denied, I'm reading from Wikipedia, so if it's wrong, I'm sorry. Denied entry into the 1976 Open by the USTA, citing a women have to be born women policy. She disputed the ban, and then very famously in 1977, the New York Supreme Court, as I recall, this I do remember, ruled in her favor, landmark decision in favor of transgender rights. Through her fight to play tennis as a woman, she challenged gender roles, became a role model spokesperson for the transgender community. All those things are true. She played doubles. She played as a woman after that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so our courts have already decided on it.
Yeah, and mostly in mixed doubles. She didn't, although it says here she may have made the, just as doubles, she made the finals in doubles. So, and I have no doubt that there were women complaining like, hey, this isn't fair. And I'm not confident that I know the answer to that question. I know that right to use the bathroom and the right to not get fired from your job and the right to get treated as the person who you see yourself as is all fair game. I don't know whether it's an unfair athletic advantage. I don't know. My hunch is that I'm probably wrong and I'm just too trapped in an old school mind and it's probably fine. But if we saw a truly elite male tennis player have the surgery to become a woman and then dominate, we'd all be like, come on, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's a really interesting debate.
We're probably not going to have this problem.
I think that we will have this problem sometime in the future. Maybe it's not going to be as common as I mentioned earlier, but I definitely think that we're going to have this problem at some point, and I don't even know if I want to consider it a problem. We're going to have this controversial issue.
This is going to have to be. But I mean, I imagine if somebody, if we're still staying in the world of tennis, if somebody is that good at tennis, they're probably going to want to compete against men. And then, by the way, they should be permitted to compete against men.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that.
But anyway, I'm sure that we've just irritated people on both sides.
I'm sure. Okay. But when do we?
But I don't know. But I don't know the answer. But I know there's something up with the Iranian team.
Yep. All right.
But I think it's in some ways, given what we think of Iran, and given the rhetoric and the propaganda that we've been hammered with about Iran, some of it true over the last since they took the hostages, right?
Yeah.
Over the last 36 years. It's funny that Iran is comfortable with having men play on a women. Like, you would think Iran would be like, no, you can't play on the women's team. It's the women's team. You can't even touch them, let alone play, right? But they're not. But again, oddly enough, this story is about how Iran is not as repressive as we are led to believe it is.
Right. That's true. That's an interesting
I don't
point.
want them to have a nuclear bomb either, but they're not as oppressive as you think.
Can you imagine if the World Cup? I haven't been following the whole drama involving the executives with the World Cup and all that other stuff. Or FIFA.
They're all liars. They're all cheaters.
They are liars and cheaters, yes. But remember, the World Cup was supposed to be hosted in Qatar, which would have been disastrous because it's so hot there. Can you imagine playing soccer in the sweltering heat in Qatar while wearing those headdresses?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, it's just putting these people in danger.
I would also like to point out that if Iran has men playing on the soccer team, on the women's soccer team, it's not working. They're not an international power, as far as I know. I'll check with Francis.